Alright, greetings everyone. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. I hope everybody is having a great Saturday out there. It is, of course, August 22nd, 2020. Kind of running through the year pretty well here. This is show number 158. So had a lot of these.
Indeed. And look at the fine wood grain finish on this tabletop.
I mean, it's a fine wood grain finish that we've always had since Ollie got it together for me. You know,
I just had to make the joke.
I mean, you know, this is a wonderful wood grain that Ollie did, and it shows how good he can do stuff. But anyway, yes. That's an entire another nerdy topic that we've had this for 2 or so years at least. Anyway,
yeah, but we're discussing it.
We're discussing it. Anyway,
so it is tabletop.
Yes. We got an interesting docket of things to talk about today. We're going to start with talking about the Great Dalmuti, which is a classic game that they're taking a D&D version of. It's a classic game that was made by Richard Garfield, the guy who did Magic the Gathering. He was one of the designers on the original one. He's done a lot of other card and board games and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's one of those things. He's a board game inventor. Everybody just remembers him for Magic. We're going to talk about a new Masters of the Universe / He-Man board game that's been announced, just going into the, I guess, 80s nostalgia that's been popping up occasionally. Or, nostalgia in general, I think, has been popping up in general in some of the board games. Then I want to talk a little bit about Bargin Quest Sunken Costs. It's an expansion for the Bargin Quest game. Which is about being the people that supply adventurers or the RPG people with equipment. We'll move on to Tiny Epic Galaxies Blastoff. I don't know. Have we had Gamelin games on the show? I think we have. In the past.
I'm not sure.
Well, I
am bad with remembering who we've had on.
Well, I've recalled talking about Tiny Epic Galaxies before, and this is a quicker family fun version, more family friendly version of it. I mean, it was already pretty family friendly, but I guess it's a little more open for younger people. And then of course we'll finish up by talking about 2 Trivial Pursuit games done by Usaopoly and whether or not they're too specific. I mean, I know Joe was talking to me about it, about maybe it's not, but I feel like there's this kind of fine line between what's too specific in Trivial Pursuit and what's not.
Well, I'm not saying it's not too specific, but at the same time, if a show has been around long enough, you could easily have enough questions for the show.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that because there's a Breaking Bad and a SpongeBob Trivial Pursuit, both coming out from Usaopoly. But we'll talk about that last. Let's start with the Great Dalmuti. Let me through the image.
I am the Great Dalmuti.
I mean, if you want to be, you can totally be. I'm not going to stop you. It's your life choice. It's your life choice to be a Great Dalmuti, Joe. I'm not going to stop.
Well, I am going to be turning 40 in a few months, so it'll be my midlife crisis that I become the Great Dalmuti.
Is that supposed to be another decade?
Midlife crisis can be starting in your 40s.
Anyway, yeah. It's the Great Dalmuti. If you're unaware of it, it is a board game that was part of it was made in 95 by Wizards of the Coast, back before it was under the control of Hasbro, and it was designed by Richard Garfield, and god damn it, my one monitor is acting up today, so let's see if I can work with this.
Your technology loves you.
Oh no, it doesn't. So yeah, let's see if we can work with the fact that I'm having one of the freaking monitors cut out today. So I can't change any. There it goes. Jesus. Technical issues already. Yeah, so it's a variant of President, which dates back to the Middle Ages, so it's a very old card/board game. I guess it would be more of a card game, President. I don't know a lot about that one. I've heard of it, and that is there's probably other titles and versions of it that are out there, but anyway, so that's what it's based on. There was a re-release in 2005 of The Great Dalmuti, but for 15 years, it's been quiet. You know, it's... The thing is, it's one that Richard Garfield did for Wizards back when Wizards was independent. Now it's under Hasbro, and they decided to release it with a D&D crossover. Direct crossover with Dungeons & Dragons. Really, all it adds to it is like a D&D...
Character art.
Yeah, character art seems to be the big thing about it. Like, the Mind Minister is a Mind Flayer, it's a Tabaxi for the Solicitor... It's a Medusa for the Baroness. What you were saying earlier.
Oh, yeah. Everyone, well, you know everyone wants to be solicited by a Tabaxi.
Yeah. I think it's just a Tiefling for the Occultist. That looks like a Hobgoblin Templar. Drider Spinner. The Artisan's making a Golem. There's like a...
The Apothecary looks like a Fallen Angel.
Yeah, maybe an Earnest. Goblin Breeder, Umberhawk Exterminator, Kobold Ratcatcher, and of course, the Knowles the Fool. The game is for 4 to 8 players, 8 and up. It's going to be sold for $15. It's coming out in November. It's all about the card game played. It's definitely, there's no dice. It's just a card game. It's pretty simple. It's supposed to be fast paced. You play it, you get it done. Something like that. And it's just like, it's effectively more a reprint of the card game, I think, than anything. Just because it's got a D&D coat on it doesn't really mean anything. That's just a coating, you know, that's just like, it's like the different Monopolies, how they technically just have like a coat a lot of times of like, it's Star Trek Monopoly. No, it's just Monopoly with like paint job on it, you know, that kind of thing. That's what
all the different Monopolies are pretty much that.
I think they're pretty much that. There's very few Monopolies or any basic like board games like that have a little bit more than a coat of paint on them. And though this one is just a coat of paint, it is a game that hasn't been printed in 15 years. So I mean, like, that's a positive, especially if it's one that people liked a lot back in that day. I don't remember hearing about it, but again, like, if it came out in 95, that's 25 years ago. I was not old at that time. I probably wouldn't have played this game. I think that was the age where I was barely into Magic at that point in time. And only because of my brother. And so, like, even the reprint by that time, it wasn't the big board game revolution that we got the last decade, you know? It's before then. So that's the era of 3.0, 3.5, you know, that's what you're focused on. Maybe something like Munchkin, which draws you're in. That's what I was kind of getting into. So, yeah, I can see missing this. Unfortunately.
And it's a basic trick-taking game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's lots of those. You can do them with basic cards, deck of cards.
Yeah, no.
There's lots of those kind. So, you know, it's easy to also miss a trick-taking game because there is, you know, it's a large genre.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like, it's interesting because, like, it is a variant on a classic, you know, trick-taking game setup from, the, like, you know, that's old. That Richard Garfield founded his own, like, little version of, and, you know, so it's, like, it's cool. It's neat. I'm glad that he,
Okay, so the artwork is actually inspired by the Forgotten Realms.
Okay, so, yeah. That makes sense that it's Forgotten Realms, just because of the look of it.
Yeah, because I'm looking over some more details, and it says it just has a shiny new coat of paint from the Forgotten Realms.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, and it's illustrations by Harry Conway. So
I mean, it's interesting artwork.
Oh yeah, no, the artwork's very cool. It looks interesting. It's an interesting stylized version of a lot of, like, monsters and creatures and, like, beings in the D&D world. And, like, it definitely has a very... I like the style that they kind of throw out there for it. As I'm not huge on trick-taking games, it's like, it falls under this, like, I don't know if I would get it if I had the opportunity to kind of thing. Because traditionally, again, I don't do a lot of trick-taking games. They're okay, I don't mind them. It's just I don't normally like go for those to be my normal thing. I'm much more of a huge fan of like, you know, resource management or like worker placement games if I'm looking for a big board game. Just saying. But anyway, it's gonna be coming out in November. So if you're a fan of the original, I mean, or like, and you just didn't have a copy of it, hey, you know, it's back after 15 years.
And it's not in POG form.
No. Though, that's one of the topics I wasn't going to handle, was effectively giant pogs. Freaking... It was, Steve Jackson Games is continuing its weird product placement sometimes. Which I don't mind, but they're putting out monster coasters. Giant pogs. You got me thinking of that. I was
Pogs are back in POG form.
I'm like, this is not something to talk about. That's an actual topic. If it's randomly brought up like now, it's like this is something they're doing.
Okay then.
Coasters. I mean, if you had the T-shirt, you could get a bonus in the game.
I am a Cthulhu.
Yeah, and technically, I think it does stuff in the game too.
Chibi Cthulhu loves all of you and wants to eat... zombie Chibi Cthulhu.
Yes.
Loves all of you and wants to eat your brains.
He's totally undead.
Yes.
Totally undead.
He even has a little brain on his tummy.
Aw. Delicious. Alright,
yeah, he does have an effect in the game too. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's Munchkin. They have their weird products do stuff in the actual game. And I'm always like, yeah, that's a thing that they do. But anyway, yeah, we should move on to our actual topics. We are talking about He-Man. I mean, the thing is, I have recently heard that someone was working on another series for Netflix, similar how they did their, well, done by different people, but similar how that they revived She-Ra. And that actually went well, so someone's attempting to do the same with He-Man. Good luck to them, whatever. Anyway, I think that's maybe one of the reasons that we've had a resurgence of Masters of the Universe thing, because it's like the second one that I've seen come up. And like this
80s nostalgia is also just big.
Yeah, 80s nostalgia is big. So I think it's like this mixture of things that are going on that have related to people are putting stuff out like this. A Masters of Eternia board game. I don't know Dave Wilkins. He's doing the art. Good on him. You know?
Art looks good.
Yeah, the art looks good. I mean, like, it captures the original stuff without, like, you know, while feeling a little upgraded. I'd say, like, you know, they, you know, you can't remove the camp completely, but maybe it improves a little bit.
But the camp is part of the fun.
That's true. So, they're currently planning a release exclusively in Europe, and will be coming to Kickstarter at the end of 2020. So right now, they're only planning a European release from Archon Studios. I don't know if that's mainly because of what's going on in the U.S. or if it's just like because maybe they're a European country. I don't know. The thing is, they are working with Mattel because Mattel has, you know, He-Man. So I don't see why they wouldn't maybe eventually have an American release. But I'm guessing it's probably going to depend on the Kickstarter. They might be a European country, and depending on how well things go in Europe, and the Kickstarter might depend on if we get an actual release in the U.S. You know. You can pre-order now, and if you do for the pre-order, there's a limited edition Battle Cat miniature that you can get. I'm just looking at this pre-order here and stuff. I mean, it looks like you could order it online through them. Oh, this item is not available outside Europe. Okay, they do say that. Yeah. So yeah, you couldn't pre-order it in the US, is the only thing.
You'd have to have a friend in Europe buy it for you and then ship it over.
I have a friend in Europe. Well, I have a couple friends in Europe, so I mean,
yes. I'm just saying, if you really wanted it, that would be the only way to do it right now.
I don't want it that much. I mean, I was never... I think I had a few... my family had a few He-Man toys, you know, because I was a child born in the 80s, though it was, like, you know, not so... I was not so old in the 80s that, like, I really would have been into it. I do remember some...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You were young in the 80s.
Yes. By the time the 80s left was when I would have been like the He-Man kind of really age. I think that's why my brother had more of it.
So considering I'm slightly closer to your brother's age, yeah.
So they've got a bunch of miniatures. It's 32mm miniatures. So you play as He-Man, Skeletor, She-Ra, Evelyn, Man-at-Arms, Beastman, Teela, and more. It comes in immersive scenic base. So, like, I think the bases are supposed to also have, like, a little bit of something on them, so they're not just, like, the miniatures, which is neat. At least what they're saying. It's
plastic, no PVC.
Well, it's, you know, they're using plastic injection process, which is probably, like, it's the modern-day process for making a lot of these things. You have to think about it as, it's like, or, like, it's one of the ones that's coming out now.
It's injection molding. It produces the things a lot better and, you know, more consistently. Because it's a mold.
And so the entire idea is that you're journeying across Eternia, powering up your characters, and, you know, becoming, I guess, the most powerful. I'm not sure, because they don't really say if it's going to be specifically all for themselves, or if there's a team game kind of dynamic of, like, you know, He-Man's side versus Skeletor's side. Hard to say what they're going to use. I'm also, like, again, because, like, as someone that's, like, has less nostalgia for He-Man and more nostalgia for, like, the ridiculousness of looking back at it over the years now. You know, that's what I remember is, like, you know, getting into those discussions late night and, like, Googling something for it, or, like, you know, something like that. There are some really weird crap and weird characters in this show, and I'm just curious as to, like, what the collection will actually be. I'm curious. You know, that's like all the characters you can choose from. That's got me kind of like, And I'm going to be... Again, like, they keep it very simple. That it's all about gathering power and fighting things along the way. Do you fight each other? Do you just fight the board? I got a lot of questions that they don't answer now, which may make a difference about how, like, how good a game is it? Like, you know...
No, randomly, you actually fight the board.
I mean, I think they're screwed... Well... They have, like, magic powers. I don't know how that's going to work there. Technology versus magic powers.
Also, remember, their shields don't work against actually, like, punching them and stuff.
That's true, and they have, like, super strength.
So they can just punch the Borg out. Or stab them.
And I don't know how magic works with shields.
Also, that was the thing, remember in... God, we're going to Star Trek tangent. And, the one movie, he turns safety protocols off on the holodeck and Tommy guns them down because hard projectiles still affect them.
Yeah. Because their personal shields are made to protect them against energy attacks.
Yes. So the Klingons actually probably have a better chance of faring with them.
Yes. But again, also the Borg are, like, super ramped up strength of cybernetics kind of thing. It's, as shown in also Shadowrun, because, you know, the more cybernetics you can get, like, some strength boost. But anyway, I don't know if this is one that I would, like, definitely revisit when it comes out towards the end of the year, but I would be curious as to, like, how they end up with the rules. Because, you know, it's like, again, I don't have as much nostalgia for it, but I do remember little bits of the show, probably more from reruns in the 90s or something, or, like, maybe early Sci-Fi Channel showed a little bit of it. You know, early Sci-Fi Channel had a lot of weird 80s cartoons they showed originally, you know.
They had a lot of weird random stuff, and that's actually when their name made sense.
Yes, because they were the science fiction channel still.
Yeah, and not SYFY, which doesn't spell shit.
Nope. They could have just have SCI-FI. I think it would have been just fine.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it used to be. It used to be that. And they changed it for some reason that made no sense.
Idiocy branding?
Like, yeah. It's just like, no, that's not sci-fi. That's sci-fi.
Sci-fi!
You're now the sci-fi channel. What the freak is sci-fi?
Look, they've been sci-fi for a long time now.
I know, but what is sci-fi?
I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. But regardless, yeah, like, I would be curious as to the actual mannerisms of the game and a lot more details on it, just because, like, again, if this show is not one I have nostalgia for, I do have nostalgia for the old, like, for, like, some old cartoons and stuff that were very interesting, and, like, yeah, if it captures the feeling of the show very well, might be fun to play, actually. You know, that's what I'm going to say about it, you know?
You know what I have to say?
What?
Next, Alf, the board game.
I just think there for a second about how would you go about that. I could think of an Alf board game. Would it be good? Like maybe
Chase
like
family cat. Father the neighbors, Mrs. Mnemonic.
I was actually thinking to go for the ET route and have like scientists try to track down Alf and trying to hide him or something. Like you take
like the bad TV movie they made that finished the series.
I forgot that they did that, but I think that. Unfortunately, yes, it's bad, but that would be the easiest way to transition to a board game of having, like, you each player take a role of a family member, and you have to try to keep, like, hiding Alf or something, you know? Or if you fail to hide Alf, they capture, like, the forces might capture you for, like, you know, harboring an alien or something, you know? You knew about it, you're captured, or something. I don't know. As much as I like to speculate about an Alf board game, we don't have one, so let's just leave it to someone out there to eventually make it.
There might have been one back in the day.
Can't say there wasn't. That's the thing, is like, there could have been, like, if it was an Alf board game, it probably was more like a version of some other board game that just happened to have an Alf coat to it, you know? They did a bunch of those, like, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some actual unique licensed board games, but they kept it very traditional board game-ish, you know, like, you know, roll a dice, move around a board, things happen, you know. But anyway, we should move on because we have a few more topics to handle here at least, and let's talk about Bargain Quest and Sunk Costs. So Bargain Quest, I'm pretty sure we may have mentioned this before on the show, because this one seems like a familiar one, the idea of that you're the role of shopkeepers in an RPG town plagued by monsters, and that you stock your shelves, sell items to the wealthiest heroes that you want to get to your shop more than others. So it's like, everybody's running a rival, like, weapons, equipment, and item shop in a RPG town, and you're trying to earn the money. But again, it's that feeling of, like, the great evil is about to destroy us all. Don't worry, I have this epic sword. 100,000 gold pieces. But if I don't defeat the epic evil, we'll all die. No, 100,000 gold pieces. But anyway, apparently, like, your equipment then goes to the heroes that, goes against the monsters. Like, it's sort of like you equip. I feel like it's a little bit of reverse Boss Monster in a way, because in Boss Monster you're setting up a dungeon, the heroes run through it then, and you have to see how they fare. This is kind of the reverse, because you're the guy equipping the heroes, they go out and fight the monsters, and then you see how they fare, you know. So, like, I'm guessing the better you equip heroes and the more of your heroes survive, the better it is for the game. Anyway, so Sunken Costs is an expansion to that game. It's a $25 expansion, which I have to say about expansions, it's not outside the realm of price, but it is a little bit more on the expensive side. Normally, when I look to an expansion, depending on the size of it, because this is a big box, I usually look between, like, 15 to 20. 25 would be something like, with Everdell, Puddlebrook. Puddlebrook was a big expansion. That I can see 25. And I'm unsure, because they don't show a lot for this, for me to be like, I don't know if this is a great expansion or not, you know, yet. Apparently they only have 9 available right now for their in stock, though. So get it while it's still out.
Get it while it's hot?
Yeah. But anyway, it's nautical themed. pirates and stuff like that. I'm trying to like look if they got.
You get the brand new supply ships game mode.
Yeah, so they got a new game mode, new nautical heroes, monsters, and items for the shop. So it is keeping it to it. I have to see what the original is costing at. Okay. They have
you can get the bargain quest with the original and the expansion for $65.
The original's $40. It's just you buy them together.
Yeah, that's not really a bargain. That's not a quest. That's not a bargain. It's just, hey, get both of them.
I mean, like, I can see, like, they're just, like, buy both of them together because then you're getting both of them together, you know? And they don't say...
At least knock $5 off.
They're not putting it together as an actual
bargain. But I'm just saying, if you're going to do that, knock $5 off the price or something. Give it a little enticement of buying both.
Yeah, together or something like that. Even if you mark a couple of bucks off. You don't even have to go the full, like, $5. You can go, like... You know, like $3 or $4, and like it's an odd number, but who cares? At least you're not like putting 99 cents at the end, like freaking a lot of stores still do. It's not 99 cents; it's $1 more. Screw you guys.
And for 1 second, back to my random joke. They did make an Alf board game that you're chasing Lucky the cat, and you're trying to eat him.
I mean, again, like, is it classic 80s board game style?
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you, they probably, as I was saying, they probably made a classic 80s board game style of something or other. They do that.
Each person is playing a different elf, and you're trying to land on the square, exactly on the square of the cat to eat him for lunch.
Like, I had, I think I had the Ninja Turtles one, which was another, like, go around the board and do stuff, you know, like, at the different squares. And also the Marvel one I had, which was the exact same thing kind of game. I mean, they were all the same. They had little variations in the rules and the way they played them, but the basic concept behind them were roll a die or run a spinner or something, or use a card and go around a board.
You don't see spinners that often anymore. I miss spinners.
You don't. Spinners were an interesting thing. I will agree on that one. But Bargain Quest was always an interesting one. It's cool that they've got an expansion. Again, like, I look at what they say on Renegade Game Studios for it, and I feel like I have to Bargain Quest Sunken Costs. I feel I have to look at this in, where is it? Board Game Geek. Because guess what? Board Game Geek might have more information on this than their goddamn site. Okay, 2 to 6 minutes, 45 minutes, 2 to 6 players. That's totally, you know, expansion for the base game. Yeah, there's not a lot that they talk about here. And like,
yeah,
like I'm looking at these, and these are more images than you get, like, also.
Board Game Geek always seems to have, like, more information.
Well, I mean, like, there's a lot of companies that are really good at putting out decent information. WizKids throws out a lot. There's a lot of others that are similar to that. I think it's...
Yeah.
I think I have to say, like, all the game studios that are technically under Asmodee's control are pretty good at giving you a lot of information about a board game. This is not much. That's the kind of thing I'm, like, kind of, like, a little annoyed about it, is they're not giving you a lot to talk about. Like, I look at this, and I look at the expansion, and I can see the components to it, and I'm like, I'm torn. Is it $25 worth of stuff? I don't know. It's a good number of cards, a lot of, like, big poster cards and stuff for the shipping stuff. A little, like, board stuff that gets, like, put up for things like that. Maybe it is. I feel like this one, I would want to test it out, because I think the mechanics are what is going to sell me on the price.
Yeah, the new supply ships game mode might make it or break it.
Again, once you get over $20, I expect a lot more from an expansion. You know, granted, like, depending on how big the expansion, you could have a pretty expensive expansion. I could see you having like a $40 expansion if you like pretty much double what's in the original game and add a lot of mechanics and materials to it.
Oh yeah.
Or if it's got like, if it's a game that had miniatures, you add more miniatures or a little like Pearlbrook. I'm sorry, I said called Puddlebrook. Pearlbrook. When we got that one, it had the little like pearls and stuff too, and like all more wooden figures and things like that. I expect that to be a more expensive one. This one is
it's there's a lot of high production.
Yeah, this one's just cards, so that's why it kind of fits in that kind of like maybe section. Again,
right?
It could really great be expansion. I would say because Bargain Quest always is a very interesting game. It's one of the ones I do want to try out. Maybe we haven't done tabletop sim in forever. We really. I don't know if we ever will have a time to do tabletop sim though. It's the problem, you know.
Yeah, it's hard anymore. Especially now, like, with me and my time split up a lot with my family.
Yeah.
Now that we all are living together.
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, no. I think for yourself about this one. If you can test it out on somewhere like a tabletop simulator, or if you have a local game store that's open that still does previews of games and stuff, that's kind of hard to find nowadays. Or maybe if you get a friend that really likes the game and bought it, you know. Because again, if you really love the original game, expansions are great. You know, they're going to add fun to it. You know, it's subjective a lot of times. But, you know, I always try to say, like, keep an open mind and think, you know, before you just dive in. I'm not always great at that. There are certain games that I will probably just buy all the expansions for regardless of whether they're great or not. But, I mean, those are my favorite games, so subjectively, I love them anyway. But.
Yeah.
So, Bargain Quest, Sunken Quest is available now. They're on their website. Renegade Game Studios is saying they only have 9 left. So, like, get them while they're hot. Then let's move on to our next one, which is Tiny Epic Galaxies Blastoff. So, like, Tiny Epic Galaxies is so goddamn familiar. I swear either we tried it or we talked to someone about it. I just can't remember because I have a memory of a goldfish. That makes me want to Google Tiny Epic Galaxies, the original.
Tiny Epic Galaxies!
Just to get some, like, ideas of how it looks.
Oh god, I've seen it. I've seen it played.
Oh, yes, we've done this one. We did it at one of the board game days when we went to a Barnes & Nobles.
Did we play it? God, I don't even remember.
We played it. I'm pretty sure we played it. Or we were going to play it and we something interrupted us. I can't remember which it was. But I do remember this pretty well. Like, when I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the playthrough on...
I think we had Ultra Tiny Epic Galaxies, not the original. Where we were racing towards 21 victory points, and we were doing, like, combinations. And there was one on Tabletop back in the day on Geek and Sundry, which I do remember watching that there. I think that's why we were going to play it at the one, like, frickin' 3 years ago now? 2 years ago? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Now
I'm looking at the...
Anyway, so Blastoff is their latest version of it. It's a 2 to 4 player game. It's for ages 8 and up, so it's for a lot more, I guess, younger audience. The original Tiny Epic Galaxies was made for 14 and up. So, I mean, the thing is, when you subtract those 6 years, either it's because of content, which I don't think it's for content for this one. If you look at it, there really isn't a lot of actual adult content.
It's probably more rules.
It is rules. It's gotta be rules. Normally the original is 1 to 5 players, 30 to 40 minutes. They're not giving a lot of time on this one, I don't see.
Give me a second. I'm zooming and enhancing.
Oh, they have the PDF of
It's
the
on
rules.
the back of the... Oh, it's also on the back of the box.
Yeah, but I just noticed that they have the PDF of the rules of the site. Yeah. So, I mean, like, if you've played Tiny Epic Galaxies, I think it's like a simpler version of that, they kind of say. It's a streamlined successor to it. It's you're learning and teaching the game faster than ever. You shuffle the planet deck, feature out 100% icon-based abilities. You're rolling the stunning galaxy dice, executing simple actions. I think it's really supposed to be more like a simplified version of the game.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Which is not a bad thing at all. It's like, if you like this game a lot and you do have a family that has a little bit younger people, maybe doing this game with them is not a bad idea. You get them and you have them learn the basics of the game, and then eventually, you know, maybe they can do the more advanced one. You know, this is like, it's... I feel like it's a junior version of a game without having the kid whitewash. Because a lot of times there's some board games that'll have like a junior edition and will really wash it down.
Right. It looks like they simplified it, but not to the point that it's just a kid's game now.
Yeah. Which is good. I think that's a really good way of doing things. And it helps a lot to make it that's fun, family fun. You know, that's the entire thing, I think, what's going on for. I mean, and it's not like it's the simplest game ever anyway. They do have a little bit of complex rules. They're just thinking by 8 you should be able to get these rules. It's just a lot simpler than Tiny Epic Galaxies, the original. Or Ultra. So, I mean, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I swear, maybe we didn't play it, but I remember we were going to, at very least. I don't remember if we did or not. Or like,
I'm not sure.
Or maybe we were setting it up and got interrupted or something. But again, I don't even know how many years ago that was. It's like it all blends together.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Like a while ago could be like a year is the problem. Well, I mean, I think we didn't have... I think it was 2 years was the last time we did the last tabletop day, or tried to. So that might have been it, 2 years ago. Frick. I mean, I'll give you that 69 months ago could have been accurate. But I think it was after they had it on tabletop on Geek and Sundry that we were going to do it. Or was it before? Oh my god, I don't know anymore. Universe blends together in a mess of time and space, and anyway, it's 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, $20 for this simplified but still fun-looking version of a game that's been out since... Oh, when was your release? 2015? Yeah, not a little bit.
5 years.
5 years. So I mean, hey. If you've had a lot of success and you're going for something like that, more power to you. So, we have a couple of... we've a kind of mixed bag in this last topic here. Because, again, it was... We rarely, but sometimes cover party games. And this is what that effectively is. It's Trivial Pursuit. It's trivia. But it is a tabletop game. It's a party game. You know, it's a different version that we sometimes talk about. And we talked about Trivial Pursuit before when they did the horror one. Horror has a lot of shit in it. So I felt that was a good one to do. Like, that was a specific topic.
It's a broad topic.
Here, we have 2 of them. The one I'm showing on screen is the Breaking Bad one, but they also have a SpongeBob one. Yeah, I mean... So, let's go a little bit about each of them first. So... This one here, Breaking Bad Lab Notes edition of Trivial Pursuit. The thing is, they say it's only about Breaking Bad. They don't include the spin-off Better Call Saul. They don't say they do. Yeah. So that's an important distinction here. They don't mention that.
Well, it specifically says Lab Notes. I would think it's just Breaking Bad.
Yeah. They have categories: Partners in Crime, Empire Business, White Lies, The Streets, Chemist Behind the Chemistry, and Moss. The thing is, each of those topics seems interesting, and like as someone that I was never a huge fan of it. I saw why people liked it. Like, it's one of those shows that I saw why people liked it. I didn't get into it, like, the early seasons. And when I don't get into something early seasons, it's rare I give it a chance beyond the first season, you know? It's the same, that's what happened with me in Game of Thrones. I didn't like it the first season. I didn't give it, you know, people said, hey, it got great. And I'm like, so what? It lost me. You know, it lost me early on. You know, I don't care that it got good. And maybe it is a good show. You know, whatever. But, so, like, I'm not going to be the one to play this. I can safely say that. But still, each of those things, because it's 100 question cards, and if you know Trivial Pursuit, every question card has every one of those topics on it. That's what it is. It's like you draw a card and you're like, oh, what topic, place are you on? What color are you on? That's 100 questions on each of these. How specific or how difficult will you get with this? How much do you have to know about goddamn Breaking Bad?
Well, I'm assuming if you're buying the Trivial Pursuit of Breaking Bad, you're a super fan.
But super fans, it shouldn't just be for super fans. It should be for fans. That's the thing.
Right, but you know what I'm saying is, I'm saying the type of person who's going to buy a Trivial Pursuit that specifically
is
for
more
one show is going to be a higher level fan than just a casual watcher.
But yeah, when I realized that that's the people that are probably the, like, weird target audience, which isn't a great target audience, I have to say. That's the only thing. It's like, you want it to be able to open up to all fans. But then the question becomes, you know, like, how difficult would it be for your general fan? Like, I know that my brother and my father, like, my brother, one of the things that he's been doing is, like, you know, watching old TV shows and stuff with my dad. Very nice, you know, bonding thing. Great to do. They watch through Breaking Bad. The two of them, if I had them... Breaking Bad show.
It sounded like you said Baking Bad.
That's a different show, and probably actually exists. If I would look that up, I'm sure I could find that. I'm really sure. But I don't think they, like, do well at this. You know, that's one of those things. It's like, even my brother, who's probably much more of a fan, I just don't know if he would do well because, like, you could, but it comes down to there's, like, a lot of questions. It's like...
That's what I'm saying. It's more for the super fans, which that show has a lot of popularity. I'm sure there's a decent chunk of the population that would get it, but also, you know, these... You okay?
I hit my teeth with my glass as I went to drink. You know, that's that kind of thing.
Yeah. Also, the thing is, you know, when they're selling this kind of thing, they're looking at, hey, the name's going to make people buy it. They're not necessarily going, you know, we're making this for everyone. It's more...
Well, it's like... were you there when we were hanging out with Blaze and we tried Trivial Pursuit Millennium Edition?
I think so. It was a while ago.
But the thing is, we did that in 2010. Did awful.
Yep.
Remembering the 2000s. And granted, like, okay, that was a lot of popular culture stuff. Granted, we've never been as big in popular culture. But just think about how long it has been since Breaking Bad has come out officially. Granted, people could rewatch it. People could study up on the culture of the millennium if they were really that, you know, big on it. The time period that has gone by since it's been out, plus, like, the amount of questions just makes me feel like there's going to be a lot of, like, I have no idea what the hell.
Yeah, but you have people who, like, rewatch the shows all the time and stuff. Like, hell, with Star Trek.
Oh, yeah, no.
How many times have either of us have watched through Voyager or DS9 or Next Gen?
And I rewatch stuff, too, occasionally. So I can't, like, argue that there are people that rewatch it, too. It's just that, like, the level of people that, like... Buying it for the sake of buying it is one thing. Buying it and using it, I like as an idea a lot more. You know?
Yeah.
And to expand upon this, they also put out another one other than Breaking Bad. They put out a SpongeBob one. So, like, if we want to talk about this, we also have to talk about that one a little bit, too, you know? Because they're both coming out, like, now. They actually are both available now. So this one, again, like, I don't feel like it could be kid-friendly too much. Maybe a little bit. It's still they say ages 8 and up, which, like, the Breaking Bad was 17 and up. But that's because it's the subject matter more than anything.
Well, yeah, the show. I mean, you don't want your 8-year-old probably watching Breaking Bad.
But I just don't see 8-year-olds enjoying Trivial Pursuit. That's the problem I have with it, you know? And again...
I think it's more made for a millennial who grew up with SpongeBob as a kid.
Hell, I mean, like, you were saying, and we checked it out right at the beginning of the show, it's 21 years old. Yeah. It was 99 that the show came out originally. And I'm like...
Yeah, so if you were, like, 8 in 99 when the show came out, this might be something that, you know, hits that nostalgic button for you.
Yes. And, like, this one, I think because it has a lot more length to it, I can understand. But their categories are also a little bit of, like, hit or miss, I feel like. Because, okay, characters. Locations. These things, you know, okay, you've got, you know, a lot of it. Then they've got seasons 1 through 6, seasons 7 through 12. That's, like, apparently the latest ones. And then they have songs and the Krusty Krab. Those are the last two. Songs? You have 100 song questions? For SpongeBob.
I'm sure it includes the movies.
Still. 100?
100 questions on this Krusty Krab.
Yeah, like, again, like, characters, you have a lot of different characters. There's, like, there's like, you know, ensemble cast as someone that, you know, I saw some of it in the early days, and then, like, I've seen more since my niece occasionally watches it, you know, that you can catch more, like, okay, there's just, like, and they expand on these characters, because they have them doing different things in different episodes and stuff, and so you can have, with a lot of characters, you easily can, like, I could easily say, like, you know, if they chose 10 characters, they could probably have 10 questions about them. But then again, like, SpongeBob, you could probably have, like, all the questions about some shit that he did.
Yeah.
I shouldn't curse when I'm talking about a SpongeBob, but I'm gonna... And locations can be the same thing. Like, those are broad enough for a long-lived TV series. And, like, even, like, the season questions. I can see those. You know, like, 6 seasons of episodes split in 2. These are all good topics. It's just that, like, I think I would have been less like, hey, there's a long-lived show that, like, you know, this makes sense to, if they didn't have the other 2 topics. Because isn't Krusty Krab a location? Yes! Frickin'.
Oh, God. What is the Krusty Krab's most famous menu item?
Wow. Is that an actual question you saw?
Yeah. Well, it's if you read it, it says you won't need the magic couch to answer questions such as, what is the Krusty Krab's most famous menu item? Or, what is SpongeBob and Patrick's favorite hobby?
Wow. Yeah, like, I look at this thing, and, I mean, it's like...
And the funny thing is, I'm like, well, I know Krabby Patty, and I think favorite hobby would be jellyfishing?
Yeah, I could have given you those, too. I'm, like, looking at they've got them, like, who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Now there is one question on the because I'm looking at the back of the box for this one. What song describes how SpongeBob took a joke about his trousers too far? I would not know that one. It's Ripped Pants. There was a Ripped Pants song. I'm like,
okay.
You know,
yeah. I only watch very little bit of SpongeBob, so... Again,
like, most of it's now, like, randomly what my niece watches, which I have no idea what season it is. So I couldn't tell you if it's seasons 1 to 6 or 7 to 12. And, like, and that's even, like, I'm not actually paying much attention to it. You know, it's in the background. So right. You pick up... It's like when you normally have stuff in the background. Sometimes you pick up a few things here and there, and it's the occasional, like, I'm doing something and I'll glance up to see what she's doing and what she's watching and stuff, you know. You pick up a few things, but you don't pick up a lot. And so, like, again, I agree that there's probably a pretty big audience for that in amongst probably people that have grown up with it and people that were, like, at the age when it first came out. And again, like, I agree that, like, you know... I feel like this is another one, which is an entirely different problem. This is a very much like Simpsons problem. It's been on too long. Simpsons has been on too long.
Oh,
It's a thing. And I feel like this is exactly the same reason. Maybe it's had less episodes than Simpsons, but I feel like it's the exact same problem. It's been on too goddamn long, and, you know, it deserves just to be replaced by something. I'm sure, like, as long as it's relatively successful, Nickelodeon will milk the crap out of it. They will, you know? And I don't think the quality will retain. Like, because I think, like, I always found it a little bit of, like, stupid humor. But the problem is like, the thing I always say, like, I'll say about the early bits of SpongeBob that I did see is, it wasn't bad, stupid humor, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I was at the age when it came out that I would just watch cartoons to be more mindless, you know? I'm not a huge fan of it, because we were teenagers, we're, like, early 20s, you know? That's the age when this kind of thing came out. Cartoons were not for, you know, like, oh, entertaining, distracting us. It was, like, just for some mindless stuff, you know? And this wasn't, it was never a bad show. A little stupid at times, but again, like, it's the same with, like, I feel like early on that was me with experiencing with is why I was never a huge fan of it. It was like, you know, the stupid was a little too stupid. Kind of like when it's a bad Simpsons episode, it's very bad, and there's not a lot of good ones nowadays, and that's why I haven't watched any for, like, the past couple of seasons, because I gave up. Because, again,
I haven't watched a new Simpsons episode in probably close to a decade.
I'm a lot more recent. I think it's been 2 or 3 years for me at this point in time.
Yeah. I just started feeling like they were starting to rehash.
Also, for a period of time, I would kind of fast forward watch a lot of them during those last few seasons that I was watching. I'd just be like, meh, 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 and that's the beauty of a DVR. You can do that kind of thing. It's just an interesting thing that they've gone for 2 very specific topics for Trivial Pursuit. Again, like, it's not necessarily a bad thing in a way, but, like, again, like, the SpongeBob questions. We just saw them, that I was looking at the ones in the back. They went from incredibly easy, great for 8-year-olds, to, like, incredibly obscure, you had to have watched 1 episode. And I feel like that's, like, gonna be the Breaking Bad stuff.
Well, I think the music ones are going to be very hard.
Yeah. But
I mean, one of the other obvious ones is, in what restaurant does SpongeBob work at?
But is that a location or a Krusty Krab topic? Oh wait, it's a location question about the Krusty Krab.
Yeah.
I'm slightly more annoyed than I need to be, but I just find it incredibly stupid. So that's why I'm just annoyed about the entire thing. It's like, it's not a difference. It's the same thing. They're just doing the same thing. Anyway. Yes, we should move on. Like, lightning in chat is correct. We're getting caught up on the annoyance of this. We should move on to our regular segments, because every week here, after we go through our main topics, we go through a number of regular segments that are things that we just share with you about the week. Again, like, just because of the nature of what's been going on, we're probably not going to have a deeper discussion for the nearby time unless we decide to review something. And again, like, Joe's time, my time, it might be because I have more time. I would have to, like, find some other people and test a game and be like, hey, I went and tested a game, you know, that we were talking about or something. And then again, like, it's not always easy to do that either.
Yes.
Or, like, one random time of playing tabletop simulator. Anyway, off topic. So, Kickstarter Corner. Do you have something for the Kickstarter Corner?
I got a brief mention. I saw this and thought it was kind of interesting.
Ooh.
Swords Noir. 2nd edition.
Ooh.
So apparently it's a 2nd edition, so they've already had this out at one point.
Mm-hmm.
But it's D&D style kind of sword. They call it a sword and sorcery style game, but more in the detective kind of realm.
Ooh.
In the noir style.
Yeah.
So, like, it's like, imagine a barbarian prince embroiled in the criminal underworld of a cosmopolitan city as they seek for an artifact in the shape of a falcon statue. Consider two accomplished thieves, one as an urban duelist and the other as a brawny skald, hired by a wealthy retired general to deal with the blackmailer, only to uncover multiple murders tied to the general's children.
That's kind of neat.
So,
I'm gonna really give you the, like, it's mixing classic, like, noir detective with fantasy, with D&D kind of thing. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
So I thought it was an interesting one to mention. It has 84 backers. They've made goal. They're at 2,176. Have a goal of 2,087. Mm-hmm. And they still have 18 days to go.
Cool.
And it is Canadian.
Ooh.
It's Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
So their cheapest pledge is 15, which is champion. Oh, actually, it's about 11 US dollars. Which is champion, which you get. Champion level backers receive all the same benefits as Scald. Oh, Scald is the next one. Backers champion level is intended for those who face financial hardships. Includes Sorcerer Noir 2nd edition, Patreon version, and 2nd edition PDF.
Cool.
Okay, so then there's the Scald, which is pretty much the same thing, but it's $18.50. And then they have the Duelist, which you get the print copy for $30.
Neat.
So I thought it was an interesting, shout out for a interesting sounding game.
No, that does definitely sound like a very interesting style game to do. Cool. I got two to talk about. One that I actually mentioned before when a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago even now, Japanime Games was bringing out their new board game Tokyo Sidekick. They put it off. They're back up on. They finally have it officially put up on Kickstarter. It's funded. They're at 32,500. I don't know what, because I figured out a way that I can actually have Kickstarter slightly work in Firefox when I have it not full screen. I don't know why that works that way, but the amount of money they currently have, backers and days, apparently only appear when I do that. Look, Kickstarter's worked for me in Firefox. I don't know why, but at least I can get the information. Anyway, so that game is effectively about the fact that there's variant humans in the world, there's evil, and, every hero needs a sidekick. So the thing is, you take the role of both a hero and a sidekick together. So it's like you have two characters, and there's a whole bunch of cardboard standees with plastic bases. The cardboard standees and the art style look really neat, too, because it's kind of got this, mixture of, a little bit of anime influence, but also, comic booky. So it's, somewhere in between there. So it's not just a direct, anime style. It's kind of got a mixture of styles, I would say, just from the art. And basically each hero is competing on their own to defeat you have to defeat two villains, two super villains, and the final boss, the Menace, to win the game. So it's you're technically competing, but you're not fighting against each other. It's the idea that all of you are kind of doing your thing on your own. They do say it's a co-op game, so I don't know if it's you as a group have to defeat them or not, as I'm looking through here. Well, I can get the rules PDF here. Yay, rules PDF. I wanted to keep this one simple, so maybe I'll just say, check it out. Japanime Games is a pretty good company. They've got a lot of interesting things. The idea of, controlling both the hero and sidekick is kind of cool. Maybe just keep it at that. And keep some simplicity, at least for this one. But the other one I wanted to talk about, since I'm interrupting myself, and they have a rules PDF if you want to check out and see if you're really interested or not, is I saw because I like talking about interesting RPGs, they have a Hellboy RPG up. I always thought Hellboy was interesting. I didn't mind the movies. Even the rebooted one, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad, It's kind of like that, it's kind of like Judge Dredd. You know, I put it on the same level of it. It's very interesting either way. They are super funded, so I mean, like, they're at 240,000 pretty much with 15 days to go. So it's funded, and they're using 5th edition rules. So it's going to be a D20 system. It's more based on the graphic novel, of course. You get the digital edition for about $14, £10. It's English. You will get the collector's edition book for £30. That's pretty much about it. The game includes some pre-generated characters, a unique story, and rules for starting off your adventure. You can download the Quick Start already at Drive-Thru RPG. So, I mean, if you want to get the Quick Start rules, they have like miniatures and stuff you can get too. I can get these quick rules. Can I log in quickly at Drive-Thru RPG? Yes, I can. Yeah. Cool. I can quickly get this and then actually look into it. Because I'm slightly efficient. Only slightly.
Some days.
Accurate. Some days I'm efficient at what I do, and other days it's just, it's a quagmire. It's a quagmire. Oh boy.
Giggity, giggity.
Yeah. I'm curious as to, like, they go over the basics of 5th edition rules, so I'm curious as to how they, like, mix with everything. I mean, they do have slightly different, I don't know, like, looks like skills are slightly different and stuff like that. They go over the basics of combat and action in the Quick Start, and how they've switched it, like how they've got slightly different things. Which, again, like a 5th edition game in general, like it's a mixed bag, like how well you use the 5th edition rules and if you change them or not. And I'm curious as to like if I'm trying to go through here and see if they have a character sheet. Oh, they do. Neat. Boop. Yeah, they have slightly different. They have a different set of skills. So that's the thing, is it's not going to be perfectly compatible because they have different skills. And I'm guessing they have different classes and stuff too, because they've got roles and levels, and they got field agents, and like they're showing off remarkable humans as the characters you get to play. So I'm guessing, like, I don't know if you'd all play as members of the group that Hellboy is in, or, like, you'd play as supernatural stuff, but, you know, it's neat. I'll add the Quick Start to my collection of Quick Starts, so. Again, it's interesting RPGs I always like to shout out. So that's my Kickstarter majigger bobber. Our Week in Tabletop?
Yeah.
You want to start us out, because you technically would start us out?
Yeah, so we had Grinding Gills.
Yes.
Which you guys are looking and trading your ship in. You met with the wizard again. Deciding to hate him even more.
I mean, he is awful, technically. I'm just saying.
You met one of his other companions, who's a dog man.
He was less awful, but still awful.
He was very loyal.
Yeah.
But you gave him the stuff. You saw your budding kind of relative coming out of the pot.
It's a weird day. It's always been a weird day. The entire galaxy is a weird day.
And you quickly left there and went to... Was it Crid?
The northern country.
Oh,
the northern planet, which has been nuked, and we found the people that are slightly radiated underground. And
some heavily radiated.
And effectively, we're going to get a good deal on a ship by using one of their ships to go get some stuff for them from a planet that we've been to. I mean...
Yeah, the original starting planet.
Yeah.
Where Fedora's base was. Try to get some medical equipment to help them with their genetic problems.
It might be a good opportunity also to see if we can...
Tycho.
Yeah, Tycho. There might be some good opportunity to find some pieces for this AI core we've been trying to rebuild, too. I'm just going to lay that on the ground there and be like, maybe we can find something for that there, because that's where it had been at.
The problem is you're trying to find pieces to make it compatible with modern technology.
I thought we were repairing it.
Oh, no, it's pretty okay. It's just, it's not compatible with anything modern because it's 2,000 years out of date.
Ah! We just don't have a plug for that?
He's building an adapter.
He seems pretty bad at building an adapter. Tell him to science quicker.
Many adapters. But you might be able to get help with that from Tycho, because they seem to be in the tech business.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, that was our session there. Didn't play Pathfinder 2nd Edition because we just didn't have the people for it. I slept through Records of Evil because my sleep schedule is borked, and it was extra borked this week. I have to say, I have to try to get it a little better this weekend or something. So
You're a bork.
I mean, I've been staying up extra late and then waking up a little later. So when last night when I went to bed when the sun was beginning to come up, I was like, yeah, no, I've been up late.
What do you mean when you went to bed this morning?
So it was 6 a.m. Okay. So it was 6 a.m. and I got up at noon. Okay.
Like I said, when you went to bed this morning.
It was a little bad, and I knew that. I was like, oh god, this is me. Maybe should I sleep more? Anyway, so that was my sleep schedule. But then I did have Legacies of Kain, in which they have moved into a different city in Japan. They met with the important businessman who's also a Kwaijin. Got a connection with the other group that they need to go to. They've gone to that person. Now they just have to convince them to get their help, and they can finally go to Korea. So probably next week, they're going to Korea. Then we didn't have Wednesday because we were down half the people for the Pathfinder 1st Edition game I do. Then we did have Children of Wrath, which you learned a little bit about Nim's backstory some more, and enjoyed learning about his own culture and stuff like that, and the world he comes from. And some interesting bits about Lanoir culture.
Yeah, it was fun learning. It was a bit of an expedition dump game.
Yes.
Session this week, that's all.
And there were some interesting things that, I don't know how much, the only person that would realize the importance of some of the things that Nim said is probably... I think the only one that actually made the history check was Kaz. So he's the only one.
I have history, and actually decent history, it's just I didn't make a great check.
Yeah. So, the Goblin's the only one that knows, Nim...
Well, he was on archaeological digs and stuff, too.
Yeah. Well, it's Nim specifically mentioned that, he was, he directly served who would effectively be the goddess of Lanoir,
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's probably a pretty big thing to hear, but he's the only one that knows that kind of thing. Radiant probably knows a little bit because she knows about Frey at least as the goddess more than as the person in history.
Right.
The religious side of it. And I think that's all that happened tabletop-wise this week. It was a mixed bag. It wasn't a quiet week, but there definitely was...
We had our off-stream games.
Star Trek. I forgot about Star Trek. That's the only one we had.
Oh, you didn't have Monday at all?
We didn't have Monday. We were down half the people.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, we had Star Trek, which we have some interesting stuff going on at the moment, especially since we're down a security officer.
Oh yeah, and we managed to make a check that was really difficult and learn a bit of information we would have learned a lot later.
Yeah. If anyone's a Star Trek fan, especially Next Gen, the damn brain bug things
We're dealing with them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're dealing with Romulans who have them in them.
Yeah. Fortunately, it only seems to be one particular Romulan, but that's still a bad thing.
Well, one almost got in you.
Mm-hmm. But I
Luckily,
certainly
shot it out of the air as it was jumping at your mouth.
I set phasers to super murder. So apparently, you only need super murder if it's in a person, because then they're effectively dead. Otherwise, you can stun the crap out of it.
You can stun it, yes. But we didn't know that, and we were erring on the side of caution.
Also, because, like, probably it's horror stories you'd have heard about for these things. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the thing, is it's just stories at this point with, like, bits of like, with the basic story of what happened, with some basic information that's probably spread in Starfleet. Reason why, like, the Tricorder's, like, alert Starfleet right away. People know about, it's like, oh, God, hell, what the hell is this? It's sort of like, probably if someone would come to, one of you, and, oh my God, I'm forgetting the planet name now.
It's like the Omega Directive.
Well, the Omega Directive is specifically to captains, though.
Right, but it stops the ship and puts up that Omega symbol.
Yeah.
And alerts, and only the captain knows what it is, but I'm saying it's a kind of a similar thing, that it's an automatic, oh crap, what's this?
It's a problem that exists, that, Starfleet has made tough decisions about,
But we left off with our chief medical officer, who's also our best fighter at the moment.
Maybe fighting against a Romulan with a most 95% chance he's got a neural parasite in a gas-filled cargo bay while she's in a... she's just got a face mask. She's in a face mask, and trying to hide.
In our shuttle, which is also open. But we realize we can control that remotely. So we're also having the...
No, we can't control that.
No, he did say from the panels here we could close
Not the shuttle.
I think he said the shuttle.
No, he said the main doors.
I thought
she could get them. They're not far from her.
But we're having the ethical dilemma of, do we close the door on the shuttle and just vent everything else into space?
Look, Lightning has a good idea. We'll let Lightning take care of it, probably. Mm-hmm. We'll see how it works. It's probably going to be a difficult check, and it might murder people. It's the possibility, but it might allow us to get in there and, set phasers to either super stun or absolute murder.
Murder stun.
One of them. Because, the Romulans, as soon as they're out of the gas, they're going to probably get up at some point in time. But it's like most knockout things. They're going to be out for a little bit at least. Yeah. So, we as soon as, they're out, we have some time. We could have our doctor, once again, inject them the same thing she injected the other person.
We also could just shove them in, open up a room, shove them in, and phaser the doors shut. Sealed.
Without any equipment.
So they can't get back out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And maybe just, blast the replicator just in case, too. That's in the room, depending on the room we put him in. We'll find a broom cloth. Well, find something without anything in it, Then we can seal up a dozen Romulans and hope for the best. We'll get back to them eventually.
Leave them a cookie.
Mm-hmm. No, our NPC ate the cookie.
We'll get another cookie.
That's in Medbay, and I'm not climbing down to Medbay just to get cookies. Thank you very much. If we want more, random, toxic Romulan knocking out gas, then maybe yes. Because it would totally murder me and the, Trill?
Trill.
Yeah. The Trill,
and probably me.
Probably you. You're kind of like a 50-50, because I think your planet... The join Trill...
I'm tropical.
Yeah, you're tropical. But that doesn't mean, your tropical world still had you could have had a little bit more harshness to it than, let's say, Earth did. Because specifically a tropical world is a world that is just generally hotter, Yeah. So probably,
I think it's supposed to be more like a tropical paradise, though.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Well, I think Rise is supposed to be tropical parasite.
Well, yeah.
Parasite?
Parasite.
Paradise. But anyway, so no. Star Trek's fun. I've been enjoying it a lot, and it scratches, like, it's a very good itch for being creative in a role-playing game, because you have to kind of try to, like, think a little bit outside the box while sticking within this, like, specific rule set that, like, it's good, because the rule set is actually, like, it's not a bad rule set to be stuck with it. You know, it's like, try not to murder people. You know? Do the right thing for, like, you know, space good guys. Because that's what we are. Space good guys. But anyway. So yes, that's Star Trek, and I think that's our week in tabletop.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's like 50% of the games this week. We'll see if next week's a busy week with games or not. Hard to say. We'll have to find out. But, I guess that leaves us to our thank yous and our ends of the week stuff. Consult the tables, last thing that we normally do. If you have a question out there that you can throw into the Twitch chat, into the comments of the YouTube video when this eventually goes up on it, into my Discord. You can either throw it to the Discussing Tabletop section, you can add us directly, or if there's a more appropriate section within the my Discord, you can throw it into there. You can also add us at Dracovin on Twitter, or at JWSecret81 for Joe. You can either just add us or message us directly. Our direct messages should be opening. There's Discussing Tabletop at yahoo.com, which I check usually once a month. So that one is a little far behind, but, you know, I will check it eventually again. I do that. It's just when I remember to, and I just decide to. A lot of ways that you can reach questions to us about, like, tabletop, nerdy stuff, anything like that. If it's one that's a very simple question, we'll answer on the spot. If it's one that we feel like would be very helpful to throw out to people to know about, we'll throw it out here, you know? That's the kind of thing. So, but, alright, hey. Another show in the books. It was a good one. We had some interesting topics. It wasn't scraping the barrel, at least. Like, we could get some good discussions on these topics, even though they're maybe not, like, on their own the most crazy questions. Cyberpunk is not a question. It is a topic. Lightning.
Cyberpunk is a good role-playing system.
Yeah, I'll give that to you. I've had fun playing Cyberpunk the few times I've done it. There have been some problems.
The new book.
I know what he's talking about. Something Redness. Yeah, the new one that's coming out. The new edition that's coming out with the video game. They're basically using the video game as an excuse to also publish a new edition of the Cyberpunk RPG. Is it before or after the video game? I think it's a little bit before the video game, but not by a huge amount. Just because the original Cyberpunk was, like, set in, like, the 2020s or something, and so they've been actually throwing it into the future.
Yeah.
So it's like 2080, I guess, if it's after, probably. Because it's like it's 2077 is the video game. Yeah. I haven't heard a lot about it yet. They've just announced pretty much that they're going to have it around the same time as it. So I guess we just have to wait and see around when the video game comes out to see if that's when the book comes out and we learn more about it at that point in time. Cyberpunk as a system is usually pretty good. I think it's probably just going to be the same system but slightly upgraded. If they take I feel like they display a lot of very interesting technology because I've seen some of the trailers in the video games that are a little bit more like the classic Cyberpunk is very cyberware-y, kind of like, you know, cyborgs kind of thing. They've taken it to, like, a new level of sci-fi idealism, and I feel like that's probably what they're going to do in the tabletop game then. Like, it's sort of like, there's a level of technology that is kind of imagined, and they're imagining a level above what they've done before. And I'm going to enjoy that as an entire thing, because I think that's something they haven't had a lot. Like, technology progresses in something like Shadowrun, but since Shadowrun is technically more post-apocalyptic and cyberpunk and fantasy, it kind of also feels like it progresses a little slower than the technological side in some things. But yeah, there's my 2 cents on that one. Anyway, outros. Now that I did that entire
yes
spiel on it, we'll have to wait and see more. It's definitely something to keep an eye on, though. So, yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. Thanks, Lightning, for usually chatting a little bit in chat. You're always fun to have. Blaze probably was hanging around. He usually shows up for a little bit if he's not working. Anybody else that's in chat, even if you're not speaking.
Still in chat right now.
I mean, Lightning is, or Blaze.
Blaze is too.
Oh, okay.
Whether he's actually watching us or just has it running in the background.
Oh, yeah, I saw he said, yeah, you old. Yeah.
Yeah.
As I said, he usually shows up a little bit. And anybody else that's just watching and not saying anything, glad to have you all here. Anybody that watches in the future, glad you're seeing it. Everybody out there, have a great rest of your Saturday. Grab a great rest of your weekend and week. Hopefully you can join Joe and I for Grinding Gears tomorrow at 7 p.m. EST.
Yep.
Other games that I'm going to be doing, Records of Evil should be hopefully back Tuesday, 10 a.m. That's Lawful Evil D&D games set in modern-day Faerun. Then Legacies of Kain at 2 p.m. that same day. That's a Vampire the Masquerade game. Children of Wrath on Thursday at 8 in the evening. That's a D&D game set in the Magic the Gathering world of Dominaria. Lots of enjoyable RPGs that we run out there. They're all fun. I mean, I feel like if you're going to look for the most fun, probably go to Records of Evil. That's probably the craziest of all of them, but all of them have a lot of good times. Legacies does some really cool things and deals with a lot of Vampire the Masquerade lore, which has some really cool lore. The imagined modern-day Faerun, I keep trying to decide. I really enjoy working with it and kind of coming up with interesting ways that mixes with the classic bits of Faerun that exist and how they would evolve into a modern day. It always seems like a really interesting thing to talk about, so I enjoy throwing that out there, and that's really interesting. So a lot of fun games. And we'll tell you stories about those off-stream games we have. And there's the theoretical plan to eventually be in a streamed Star Trek game at some point in time in the future, and we'll see when that is. So, but regardless, that would be on someone else's channel, and we'll let you know when that happens and what their channel and where to find us as players. But until then, I guess have a great rest of your weekend. Hopefully see you for some of the crap that I'm going to be doing, and farewell for now.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, Dr. Nick.